Hallo miteinander, I'm a.k.a. and this is Touhou 10 Mountain of Faith. Stage 5 offers a lot of trigger-happy enemies that are very obnoxious to me. You might remember how I mentioned at the end of the last episode that I was very low on power when I finished it, and that really puts me in a lot of trouble now. There are so many enemies around, spawning so many bullets, and I just can't get rid of them reliably. This makes it seem like stage 5 is a very scary stage, a very tough stage, but to be honest, it is probably easier than stage 4 even. And the reason for that lies in this game's mechanics. Every time you use a bomb, you might have noticed, you suck up all the power-ups on the screen. And that is very helpful in this stage because enemies tend to drop a lot of P icons. So it can happen that you use a bomb and basically gain the power that you lost back immediately. So always bomb safe and early in this one. Now here we have our mid-boss and boss for the stage. This lady with the radioactive hair. Her name is a.k.a, the Wind Priestess. Now, I have quite a lot of things to say about her, but I think we'll leave that for the boss encounter. Right now, I want to address the bombs in this game again, and also criticize the game a little bit more, like last episode. You see these ring thingy bombs? They're kind of boring in my opinion, and the reason for that is because in previous Touhou games, characters actually used their signature spells as their bombs. In Reimu's case, that would be her fantasy seal, which is a bunch of colorful lights that would home in on the enemies, and that would look very impressive in my opinion. Even though those games would be much older and inferior in graphics, it would be a sight to see. And in Marissa's case, that would be her signature Master Spark, which is kind of like a Kamehameha from Dragon Ball Z. Only that it doesn't take 30 episodes to charge up. So I'm really kind of disappointed by that, because these generic bombs that all the characters have in this game, they really lack a lot of strength. But that aside, we've encountered Sanae once again. Now, about her personality, she is a human, the only human boss in this game actually. However, she has the power to perform miracles, which basically makes her a human become God. Pretty impressive. Apart from that, she's also a very popular character in the series. She's appeared in many games and is even playable in some of the more recent ones. But this was her first appearance. Now, another thing in fan culture about her, there is a meme calling her a good girl. It's from some comic, and while it may be very funny to some, I don't quite get it actually, because in Touhou 12, Sanae is a pretty violent person actually, and she's even very mean to Reimu in this one. So if good girl means mindless thug to you, then I guess it's true. But I want to point out something about her bullets. They are star-shaped. Now, I want to remind you about the previous Touhou games again. Stage 5 bosses in those always had something unique about them. In Sakuya's case from Touhou-series, that would be her stopping time and throwing out an absurd amount of knives at you until you're surrounded. With Yomo from Touhou-7, she would concentrate so hard that it would manipulate your perception and create a Matrix-esque effect that would actually be more helpful to you. And in Reisen's case from Touhou-8, she would confuse the player by hypnosis and make it so that you'd have the illusion of shifting bullets. And what does Sanae have? Stars. Shiny little stars. Kind of weak, isn't it? Well, unfortunately for us, Sanae is not weak. While she may not be a very hard stage 5 boss, I have trouble with some of her spell cards, like this one. The shifting lasers and the streams of knives really are hard for me to dodge, so I lost my first life on that spell. I have to say I wasn't too fussed about it, because I basically died because I was out of bombs, and I also died very late. for the first time in the LP. It's always better if you die to not having bombs, because if you still have a very high power, you will not only lose life, but bombs on top of it, and that is also very frustrating. Now here we have Sanai's final spell card, and you would think that it would be very hard to deal with, but guess what? It is not. It is very easy. We have very slow bullets with huge gaps in between, and there's not even a big trick to this. I mean, just look at it. It's easy. You would expect something from like this from Nitori, but not from a stage 5 boss, in my opinion. Maybe it becomes much harder on the higher difficulties, but so far, this seems like a very strange decision by Zun. Maybe he was just sober that day. But nonetheless, Sanai is defeated. She was the last servant of our main antagonist, and the way to the final confrontation is now finally clear. I'm a.k.a, this was Mountain of Faith, and next time, the grand finale. Who will prevail? Our simple lazy shrine maiden, or an ancient immortal goddess? We'll see. Bis bald!